Ah yes, the height of British summer.
And now it's time for the latest exciting episode of Doz's Television Workshop.
Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop, where today we're going to be servicing this Ferguson 3790 movie star that I got from Retrotech recently. When I picked it up, we did throw caution to the wind and switch it on, and it did have a slightly low frame. And the other thing I noticed was it was making maybe an unusual odour. It was subtle, but yeah, we need to investigate. Let's get into it. Okay, well, first thing to do really is, I suppose I could show you the front panel. We've got a push on-off switch, volume, colour, contrast, brightness, a 6-channel selector there. And we've got a little pop-out tuner, just a set of pots marked from 21 to channel 68 there. UHF, obviously, this is a PAL-only set. And we spin the set round, we can take the back off. Protected by CPP. If found, call the emergency action hotline. I suspect they don't exist anymore. Right, on the back we have 4 chunky plastic screws, which I'm going to need a chunky sort of flat driver to get out. I suspect you could use a 50p piece if you wanted to. It's a hell of a chunky thing. Big sort of plastic screw. I shall show you in a second. There we go. And you can see the big chunky plastic screws there. Never seen them broken yet. And there it is, the TX9. I haven't seen one of these in a very long time. Things to note, we've got an AXT47-001 tube from Thorn Consumer Electronics. Immensely reliable tube. I don't think in my career I ever saw one flat, and it is made in Japan. Right, so we've got a bit of low height going on. And first thing I want to do is just slide the chassis out. Let's remove the tube base. Just going to have a quick check round for dry joints and anything suspicious. I don't remember what runs the frame actually. It's got to be this IC under this heatsink, hasn't it? So yeah, we may have some suspect electrolytics, although somehow I doubt it. These were phenomenally reliable. It has got a whiff of, I don't know, whiff of something about it, but that might just be sort of age related more than capacitor problems, I think. I'm going to undo that clip there. Do you know, this doesn't look like it's ever been apart. Wow. These were an immensely reliable chassis. Thorn really did go to town on this. Then it came in 2 types, by the way. It was modernised later on in its life. This variety has a thyristor-based power supply, conventional transistor output stage. There was a number of revisions. The metal ones, I think, were all the same, but then they put it in a plastic frame, in a more modern looking set, and that used a transistorized chopper power supply using the TDA 4600 power supply control IC. And almost every set that used that, I think there was a 470K or was it 47K that used to go high, and it used to make the power supply regulation fail. And yeah, the volts would go sky high and it would do all manner of damage. But yeah, they used to blow themselves up. But the thyristor one, on the whole, was very reliable. They did suffer every now and again with nuisance fuse blowing. And I remember back in the day that you'd have, you could be, you know, your set would come in with a violently blown fuse. Obviously something had drawn current, And you put a new fuse in and it would sit there for days and days and run fine until the customer had it back. And the minute they plugged it in, it would blow the fuse again and it would come. And I think it was down to a soft start circuit in the power supply that wasn't great. I think it was a cap or something went and used to stop the soft start from working, and it used to just pop the fuse intermittently. But there we go. That's interesting. This one's fitted with a TDA 3560 chroma decoder. I thought it was a Mu PC something. Was that the TX90? Don't remember. It's been too long ago. This is a basic push-button set. They did come with remote control. They did come with teletext as well. And this chassis was capable of driving 20-inch tubes as well. And I've got to see a vague memory of a 22-inch 90-degree deflection set, but I'm not quite sure whether that was a mismemory or what, because the 110-degree sets were either a TX10 of this era, which again came in metal and plastic. Two different things. Big cage over the power supply. Maybe one day we'll see one of those. But yeah, there we are. So I'm just going to have a quick check for dry joints, etc. See what we can see. Well, there is no sign of any work having ever been carried out. I'm just going to don my magnifying doodahs. I think we could do with just reworking that line output transformer here. Hello PT, look, line output transformer. I just see that giving us problems in the future. Nothing else looks to have been touched. That's incredible. They were reliable, so why wouldn't one of them survive without any servicing at all? Under this little thing here, there's a little warning on there. PCB mains cover, always replace. So I think there's a catch on the top we have to undo, and that'll fold out the way. Memory serves, yeah, there it is. And the set hasn't been on since I tried it that first time, so I'm not too worried about it. There we go. It should just hinge out the way. There it goes. A bit delicate with it. It is some years old. I'll see if we can get a date in a second. Ooh, yes. Right. You may have to have a little zoom in there, but that's very unpleasant. So there's some, in fact, some of it's been burning up there. Let me zoom in and I shall show you. I shall zoom in with this camera here. Best I can. Let's see if I can angle it up slightly. There you go, you can see I need something to point with. I shall use these tweezers. You can see here and here, these joints are starting to burn up, and that one's got some carbon look on it where it's been arcing. We got away lucky there, didn't we? So yeah, let's put the iron on and sort that out. I'm going to do them all. What is that? That is mains and main switch, so that would have wreaked havoc in the end. And, you know, that would have caused some spikes and unpleasantness, and eventually have led to, I think, quite a catastrophic fault. But we've got it in time. Yeah, that pin's become tarnished. We're going to need to clean that up. Let's try a drop of flux on it. By the way, I will mention this morning that my tremor is not in a good way. So I know some of you have commented on it before and made some suggestions and stuff, but I am awaiting an appointment to see a neurologist, so there are issues going on. Thankfully my memory's alright, so we can but hope it's not too serious. Oh, that's doing the job nicely. Put a bit of magnification on the job. Let's see how we're looking. Pretty good. One needs to drop more, I think. We need a bit more flux, I think. Yeah, that pin is reluctant to take solder. There we go. Ah, lovely. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's all right. I'm just going to wash that flux off a bit. There we go. Just have a look at the chopper transformer itself. I suppose it is a chopper transformer, isn't it? No, it's looking pretty healthy. That's good. So let me just take you back out again so you can see what's going on. There we go. Let's just have a quick whirl around the line output transformer while we're here. Got a bigger tip really, don't I? Still, this will be perfectly adequate. Pin's only there, it's not connected to anything. It's only a single-sided board, but this pin, pin 11 there, is not connected to anything, but it's there for a bit of mechanical support. These line output transformers back in the day, by the way, very reliable. Don't think I ever changed one. There. That's all good. Let's replace the little shield there. Oh, the simplest of tasks. It's going to thwart me. There we go. Surely. Hurrah! Right, so that's looking quite good now. Okay, let's just evict some of this dust from underneath the chassis in the back of the cabinet here. Oh, it's a bit sticky. I wonder if that's where our funny smells come in from, you know. I reckon this has been in a kitchen, and that's a bit greasy. Yeah, that is very sticky and greasy. There we go. So that's seen to that. It was a good catch, that. That could have been disastrous later on in life. If we'd have left those joints, that arcing would have continued. Possible fire risk and possible, you know, risk to the health of the power supply, because with all that arcing going on in there, it could soon do some damage with spikes and what have you. Clean this EHT lead up a bit while I'm here. It's gone very sort of stiff in its old age. Yes, it's red under here, look. That's a lot of detritus on there. Just using a bit of IPA cleaner. Look at that difference on that. I'm going to just discharge that and get it out, clean it properly. I think that's probably worth doing. Shouldn't imagine there's much in there. It has been off for weeks. Funnily enough, this does remind me once I had to transplant a tube from one set into another. It had a tube that had got smashed. The customer was very keen on taking it. So I took a tube out of one of these. In fact, it may have been the 16-inch variant. This is a 14-inch. And I discharged the tube, put it on the side, the one that was to go in, got the broken tube out, and then picked up the tube that I'd taken out with the anode button pointed towards me. And if you know about tubes, you discharge them and they generally, it's called large area capacitance effect or something, and they sort of slowly charge themselves back up again. And yeah, I picked it up with a button against me. Of course, I was earthed to the dag of the tube, and it discharged into my stomach, into my fat belly, and yeah, dropped the tube, had to go and get another one. So yeah, not one of my finest moments. There is precisely nothing in there. So that's good. This lead, look, says Hitachi on it. And it does look like a bit of a Hitachi transformer, actually. I suppose the Hitachi transformers of the same era are pretty damn reliable. Short it to the dag, not that there's anything in there, we've just checked that. Check the tube again, absolutely nothing, as expected. With EHT bits, cleanliness is, you know, next to godliness really. You don't want to be running stuff, you know, the dust will attract moisture. You don't want moisture next to, I think about 22 kV on these tubes. Quite high EHT really for such a little tube. That's very nice now. Much improved. Have a little clean around that EHT connector. Just want a bit of something clean itself to get in there. Use a bit of paper towel. Ugh. It's actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. Better than the lead was. Let's just clean that bit off there. This lead's also somewhat supple now. It wasn't before. Wait till that IPA evaporates. Reconnect that. Which way around did it sort of root itself? Don't want it getting too close to the line stage really. There we go. Hook that back in. And yeah, we're looking somewhere near. Right, let's spin the set round. Next thing I want to do is measure the HT actually. And I've got a copy of the service sheet from the very wonderful radios-tv.co.uk. And I've read the manual, and we've got a measure on the top of a diode for the HT to be 115 volts. And the pot that adjusts it is actually marked set EHT, which was sort of quite common back in the day, because obviously if you take the HT up, everything rises up and down with it. All the line derived supplies will increase in voltage as well, including the EHT. Right, let's do that. So here's a little look at the service manual, kindly provided by radios-tv.co.uk, and you can see our chassis there. One thing to notice is there's a shield over the IF which is missing from ours, and I'm not sure they were always fitted, but anyway, there we can see the chassis components, and there's a bit about a Thorn Television Rentals trial there, and a few faults, but yeah. Anyway, here's the manual properly. So we just want to go into installation and preset adjustments. So here we go. The chassis is live irrespective of mains polarity. An isolation transformer must be used, usual. Here's the interesting thing. It tells us to adjust all of this stuff before setting the HT. And to be honest, the HT is probably going to affect a few of these, so we really want to set that first. So check volts at W85 with a 20 kilo ohm per volt meter. Well, that's the old AVO. We'll be using a fluke. We'll get it somewhere near. Contrast and brightness at minimum. And adjust R185 for 115 volts, which is an EHT of 22 to 26 kV. So there's the sort of outline of our board there. And as you can see, here's R185, which is our set 115 volts, and W85, which I think is marked D85 on our set. Also things to note, when we adjust that, may put our height right, may not. So we've got height, vertical lin pot, width, pin cushion, first anode, horizontal linearity. Now, if you can imagine the output transistor is here, I remember adjusting these line controls as a youth, and catching the back of my hand as you adjusted it on the collector of the line output transistor, which is a little bit zappy. But there we go, that's what we've got to do. Let's make that happen. Right, just before I start, I'm going to give the HT pot a little squib of cleaner there. I can see roughly where it is, so I'm just going to move it back and forward a bit. There we go. Here's our vertical height, that's a sealed pot. Pin cushion width and vertical linearity are there. We will come back to those after we have set the HT. So it said W85 on the diagram, but it is D85 on here. So I'm just going to put a hook on the end of that diode there. That's it. So we should now be able to measure our HT rail. Meter to volts DC. I should put that up there so you can see that. Can you see that? Yes, that's super. We want the main switch on in the front. I'm going to click it on the power box. So, right, there we go. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And we need to set brightness and contrast to minimum, didn't we? So, oh, now I can't see. I shall lean over the front. Right, it has come up and running, so that's volume. There we go. That is brightness and contrast and everything to 0. Made almost no difference, did it? So we've got 119 volts there. So I just want to turn that down a bit. I'm just going to switch off for a second. Put my probe in there, because I'm so shaky at the moment. There we go. If I'll switch back on, let's see what that looks like, see if we're any better. 122, gone the wrong way. I just don't trust myself at the moment not to slip and blow something up, which would be most upsetting. Let's try that. Soft start's working nicely. 116 volts. Still a bit high. Edge it down a little more. 112. Up a little bit. Try that. Have I found a dead spot on the pot? Do I need a new HT pot? Oh dear. A bit more. What's it with it? $115.1. I'm calling that close enough for government work. Right, let's spin the set round, get a signal into it, and set those picture geometry up, and see if that puts the set right. It may be correct now we've soldered up those dry joints and adjusted the pots. Only one way to find out. Right. Right, I was just spinning the set round, and I've noticed that this capacitor here, that one there, has a load of crustiness and ooze round it. Here is 250 volts, 4.7 microfarads, and the negative pole is towards the back of the chassis there. So sensible thing there is to pull that out and change it. It might still be hanging in there, but let's face it, it's not exactly going to be long for this world. So just make sure I've got the mains off. Oh, by the way, this is rather neat. A lot of Thorn sets of this era had this. This little plug here hides the fuse underneath. So that's your mains lead. Well, the fuse is underneath. I always thought that was very neat. There was a lot of Thorn stuff that was very, very neat. Right, so let's flip the chassis up. And that looks to be C182. It's on a line derived supply, and being 250 volts, wouldn't mind a bet that's something like the first anode or something. The RGB drive supplies more than likely, not necessarily the first anode. Although, yeah, it could be the first anode control. We'll have a look on the diagram in a minute. So let's just fetch that old girl out. Oh yeah, that was well worth doing. Nasty and crusty on the one leg look. Very unpleasant. Good. So thankfully, so that was 4.7 at 250 volts. I haven't got any of those, but I've got a very nice Worth 4.7 at 350. So we shall fit that. Right, now we can turn it round and set things up. So I want the input there from PiPatGen. Tweaking tool at the ready. If we're going to need any height, I can just about get on that, I think. Right, let's power back on. Pictures coming up, quite reasonable. Controls are all a bit scratchy on the front, aren't they? Look at the colour control, is pretty awful. And you can see just there's a flickering line at the top there. We just need to edge that off the screen a bit. So let's see if we can achieve that. Yeah, that's pretty good now. Grayscale's nice. Colour's good. See if we can focus it up a little. Let's just control on this side over here. That really is superbly sharp. Very nice. Rest of the geometry looks very acceptable. Oh, we've got a bar on the camera. Let's try and get rid of that. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. It's all to do with the exposure of the camera, but that's not present in real life. There we go. I can minimise it by turning the brightness down. Looks horrible on the screen now. Looks lovely on the camera. Anyway, there we are. Let's bring the contrast down a bit. Is that even better? Oh no. Clearly not. That's amazing how good that looks on the camera, but in real life, not so much. Right, let's get those front panel controls cleaned up. Are they easy to get to? Yeah, they're not too bad. So switch off, mains off. Pull the set back round again. Can I get that without pulling all the front out? Some of these just unclipped, I seem to remember, and the whole front panel came out. I think this one's held in with screws, but I reckon I can get the nozzle of McCann just in there and give those a little birthday. So, whereas McCann of OB Joyful, we had that moments ago. What have I done with it? Ah, work those all back and forward a few times. That should clean it up beautifully. Switch on and try again. Pop PiPatGen over to tone so I don't get a copyright strike. Power is on. Well, that's much smoother now, at least on the volume. Cracking little pictures. Right, I was going to date the set, and looking around, there is a date of the 46th week of 1981 on the line oscillator, the 44th week of 1980 on the chroma decoder. At least I think so. Yes, I might be wrong with that. So yeah, looks like made somewhere late 81 maybe. There we are. Super little set, pleased with that. Right, let's box it back up. Look at the size of that reinforcing bracket in the back. That fits over the top of the switch mode transformer. There you have it. Superb pictures on this 1981 Ferguson 3790 Movie Star 14-inch colour TV. Yep, there you go. Really pleased with how that's come out. Right, click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish. And also join the Discord server. That's been picking up. That's a Discord server. I'll leave a link and an invite in the description below. We've got a few people chatting on there now, which is always lovely to see. So thank you very much for that. Leave a comment down below if you fancy. Always good. But yeah, that's about it from me. Oh, a lot of you last week commented on the end music, which I changed. If you haven't kicked around for that, might be worth a listen. It's a little bit of fun. But there you go. Right, that's coming up now, and I'll see you very soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now.
With a gentle hand, he brings them back in line. Every twist and turn makes the magic shine. Cathodes and the crackle of the tubes amidst the dust. They play nostalgic tunes. Solder smoke and the faint aroma of time in each repair. An art that's so prime. Twist and spark, fix the picture, bring back color in the dark. Screens that buzz, it's magic on display. Old TVs revived in a brand new way. Circuit woes, but we're getting closer. Neon signs, they guide you to the door. Tubes and screens like you've never seen before. Pulses hum as sparks begin to fly. In this tiny shop, dreams are set too high. In Darcy's shop, with a touch of love, your picture's clear and true. In Darcy's hands, pixels flicker back to life and stand. Microchips and vintage heart in a world of screens playing their parts. Circuit boards with stories to untangle. Every wire a promise at an angle. As he bends the light through the lens, creating onyx nights. Oscillators creating sonic waves, bringing back the charm of retro days. Capacitors and resistors. In Darcy's touch, there's no misfire. Transistors dance to the rhythm of repair. Through the glow, feels like magic fills the air. Voltage pulses, the tune's melodic run. A symphony of sparks, where the work is never done. In Darcy's shop. With steady hands.
Let's do this again. That one is rubbish. I should have stuck with the first. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. 5, 6, which is bugger all use again, and 7. Right, so before I start, I'm just going to give the... let's put backlight on and do that again. Hang on. Oh, cock. Let's not bother. Just put the light on, see if is it better or worse now. That might actually be better. Watching, click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish. I will just mention the Discord server. Let's do that again because I've muffed my words. I will just mention the Discord server, Discord. If you'd like to join that, I'll leave a link. Right, I think that's brilliant. That is brilliant. mentioned DOS cord, got it all done. Happy blooming days.